I thought I'd give you a side profile. Just finished the chop on my 52 Pontiac. It's a Canadian Pontiac, so it's basically a trimmed up Chevy. So I ended up going with a kind of a medium chop on her. It's I think it ended up being about 4 in the front, 5 in the back, approximately. I left the post straight. So when you do this, leave the post straight. I find it's probably the least invasive. Most guys cut a V in here and a V up here. So this one, basically, the metal that you pull out of here, you put in here, and it's pretty darn close. This is a little bit big, and then you trim it down. Obviously the inner's still not done, but you get the idea. And then another thing that guys do that I ended up not doing was a lot of guys will doing the research on these chops. Everybody does them different, and they all seem to turn out, or not all, some seem to turn out okay, some not so great. This one, you can see the roof, main crown has not been touched. Did not mess with it. Don't want to mess with a perfectly good roof. I don't have an English wheel, so you don't want to add any more heat to that than you have to. So I was seeing guys, they were cutting them here all the way down. I was seeing guys were cutting them in quarters, so like half down the middle and half down the middle this way. And I didn't want to do that because that's a lot of grinding, a lot of welding, a lot of heat you're adding. So this way, I think it looks the best. Keeps the roof nice and small. You don't widen it, doesn't look pancaked. And your posts lean in a little bit more, which I like. I think that looks cool. And not a lot. You got to do a little relief cut here and a little one up here. This one pulls out, that one pulls in to meet both sides. And then your pillars, obviously that's not finished yet, but your pillars to get them to lean, basically that's the chop cut, and these don't go all the way through, but basically you cut 2 of these and that gives you enough movement to pull that in both sides. It's not a lot. And the door as well, cut there, and in there. And there's a little tricky, there's a lot of more shape to it, so a little more cleanup to do, and that gives you that leans the whole thing in, which I think looks better than widening the whole roof. Yeah, back profile. I still wanted the back seat to be usable. My plan is to do 4 buckets with a center console down the whole center, so I still want to keep that factory crown back there. Some guys really flatten them out a lot. The car does, it does have, the roof has a lean to it, definitely slopes back, but not nearly as much as a lot of guys do. It's personal preference. This piece here, this is the right side of the car. This one is from the left side. This is the bottom that was cut here. This is the bottom, and I rotated it and brought it to this side of the car. So if you turn your camera like that, that's what it would have looked like on the car. And I flipped it. Went side to side, and that seems to keep a nice, this curve matches this curve, this radius here. So that seemed to work out good there. And then this is another thing that everybody does different. I always thought these trunks always looked a little short to me. So there's usually about 2 inches here. I think about doubled it, so add another 2. And basically, yeah, it makes the deck lid look longer. It looks more like how the two-door coupes have that little extra length before the belt line. And yeah, I basically cut right along this belt line and slid the whole window. And this was a little interesting. Now, one problem that doing it this way is the your stainless trim will need reworking because yeah, it's the shape, the curvature here has changed. You might be able to get it. My plan was I'm going to take the trim off. My trim wasn't the greatest shape, so. And then this panel here I made. Turned out pretty good. If you're going to do this, I recommend maybe at least up in here where this joint is. Now that I've done it, I probably would move it up a little bit so you can get to it a little easier from the inside. The inside, there's a panel there that's in the way, so I bent mine trying to work it in metal shape a little bit. I'll have to straighten that out. So I'd maybe give yourself a little bit more room. Yeah, and then the one seam all the way along there, but I cut here along and just to kind of relax it and then get that curvature nice. Kept the drip rail, so I basically just went around it. Whole car is going to get a respray. I'm not a huge fan of the color anymore, so. So yeah, now that's the outside's done. Now I got to do all the finishing work on the inside, but pretty happy with it. Now the next hurdle is the glass. The gap's all pretty decent. I might do what a lot of guys do is they cut here and then you weld that corner piece in here, and I think that would I think that'll look nice, a little, because I kind of went kind of basic with the straight post. I think that would just give it some nice shape. Some little subtle stuff that people might not notice, but that also here has to get cut, and because it seems like this angle, for whatever reason, where the door goes, it gets tight, so you have to cut it and bend it back just to give yourself a clearance. Anyway, so that's how I did mine. Figured that was the least amount of work, least amount of chance of warp and stuff. It turned out okay. I'll give you a shot from, I'll just walk up my stairs here. Give it a shot from above. Top view. I'm excited to see it all in one color. Because right now the top kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But yeah, good luck with your chop.